how do you survive without employment, 9 to 5, and how can we reach that level?
I made a TikTok recently referencing the ex-CEO of Capitec, Gerrit Fourie. I think it's Gerrit Fourie. I stand to be corrected. Gerrit went and said what was deemed controversial in saying that he thinks the unemployment numbers in South Africa are overinflated at over 30%. And in his opinion, our real unemployment is probably at 10%. And Stats General and other people at Stats SA caught feelings, and they were like, oh, Capitec now collects data and stats. On what authority are you saying this? He said this in June, July. He stepped down like a month or something later, for whatever reasons, not because of that. Politicians, for their political endeavors and ambitions, come up with these slogans that are meant to win the hearts and minds of people that are going to vote for them so they can have power. And some of these slogans and lines are not rooted in reality and practicality. If anything, a lot of them become very distracting. We want the land. We want the jobs. Karis One would sit with Nick Cannon, I don't know how many years ago, on a podcast, and he'd say they didn't steal our land, they stole our minds. He says the land is still there, but our minds are not at a level where we can get that land back. Land is not what people seek. Land is. It's there. It's the sky, it's the water. You want access to resources that allow you to be productive so you can take care of yourself. Land happens to be the thing that everyone has been told is the thing. There are many poor communities in South Africa that have lots of land, but are poor and need help. And a lot of their children will migrate to the cities and live in a shack, leaving land, to show you how land means nothing. Facebook, Airbnb, all of these guys are not obsessed with land because they have an ability to get you to use your land to their ends. Jobs becomes the other one. We have been made to be obsessed with like jobs. A few generations ago, our forefathers and foremothers did not have jobs. We had 100% unemployment in this country because they were working for themselves. That's what nature intended, for you to work the land for self. What nature intended was for us to raise our own children, to educate our own children, to be our children's doctors and nurses. But we live in this modern capitalistic world where if you don't have medical aid, if you don't have a job, if your kids don't go to school, if you don't live in a built house and get a bond, you are nothing. That's not nature. So the concept of a 9 to 5 and a job is just like a human creation. I work like everyone else. We work. It's just a matter of, do you work at home? Do you work in your own establishment? Do you work in someone else's establishment? Do you get paid by HR? Do you get paid by a boss? Do you get paid by a client? Do you get that's all it is. It's just constructs. And what I said in that TikTok is South Africans need to move away from this obsession of jobs and rather discuss income. Because there are people that have jobs that are earning 3,000 Rand a month. And there are people that are unemployed but are managing to hustle somehow 7,000 a month. And what the Capitec CEO was trying to explain, that there's an informal market and we see these guys coming to bank money with our data. And I'm telling you now, when we cross-reference their data to Stats SA, these guys are deemed unemployed. But I see every month getting 12,000, 14,000, 6,000. But this guy's unemployed and he's getting an SRD grant. And his kids are getting a child grant. But this person has a job, Uhola 5,000, he doesn't qualify for these things. We need to move to income. So a question like that, as dope as it is meant to address, you don't need a 9 to 5, you don't need a job, you don't need an employer. You just need to find work. And then you need to find a way to get paid for that work. And you need to try and make it sustainable. And where you can draft contracts to